for all those who I know can't be with us. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a todos. ¿Cómo están ustedes hoy?
Muy bien.
Es lunes, pero sí, es lunes. Yeah, for a Monday, right? For a Monday, at least we got some rain. And I don't know, my whole household was kind of like an upbeat mood from the rain because we needed it so badly. Now maybe my orange tree won't die. So I have been watering it, but you know, it still looked like this might die. So I kept thinking, this is going to cost a lot of money to take this out. Please don't die. Okay, so we're done with our rain. Here we go. Now it will start to dry out.
In Spanish.
Yeah, we'll get back to some sunny skies for the week. Hoy, lo que vamos a hacer, we're going to start with our questions on chapter reading. We will go into a little bit of warm up with reflexive and then you guys talking with reflexive. So the page you will need to have handy. And again, whether you dig this out as, I printed it out, or whether you pull it up on the computer to, have two screens going at the same time with your Zoom matters not to me. But if you have printed it out, I want to make sure you have time to find where you set that down. It will look like this, and it just has prompts. And the prompts are just infinitives, nothing but infinitives, right? Plus, we're going to talk a little bit on sentirse after we're done. Ooh, I thought I had that ready to go and I did not. I will have to find that. Okay, so now that you know what you have to look up, vamos a empezar. Ahora vamos a empezar con preguntas de las novelas. Questions from your novel. What kind of questions do you have from whatever chapter you read? And maybe like last week, it'll be kind of a light questions day. Because it seems like a lot of you are kind of in the group and have fewer questions with that now, which is fine. Nada? Nada? Okay. Vale, magnifico. And I found my stray video that I need to play. Okay. Bueno, entonces, vamos a empezar con los reflexivos. We're going to start with reflexives. We're going to see a little short story to begin, and this is warm up. This is to get your brain back in reflexive mode. Yeah. Because you know what? You kind of to do a little review before you have to do free speaking is helpful. Boy, especially when we're on Monday here. Monday schedule. Vamos a ver. Let me get my screen set up for video. Yeah. And I will stop this if I need to. I'll make it bigger. Oh, and it started in the middle. That does not help. Okay. Whoop. Not so loud.
Suena el despertador.
Suena el despertador. And you'll see how they're going to flip-flop between yes reflexive and not reflexive, because that's what happens. Suena el despertador means the alarm is ringing. Despertador, like despertarse means to wake yourself up. When we turn it into a thing, it's despertador. The thing, the device that wakes you up. It used to be an alarm clock. Now it's off in our phones.
Hora de despertarme.
Es hora de despertarme. And look at what happened here. She didn't conjugate despertarme. Es hora de. It's time to. We would say it's time to wake up. Or you might say it's time for me to wake up. And so es hora de. Once I've got a de, any verb after that word de needs to be an infinitive. We can't conjugate it. But we do we do morph that little se into a me because I'm talking about myself. Okay.
Me despierto a las 6 de la mañana.
A las 6 de la mañana. Me despierto. There you've got the full conjugated verb because it's standing by itself. It's telling an action. I wake up at 6 a.m.
Me estiro.
Me estiro. Oh, I didn't give you that verb, but you start to see some new verb. Me. Stretch. Estirarse is to stretch your muscles out. And you do that to yourself. So that's not too hard to figure out. Oh, that might be reflexive. Yeah. I do it, and what benefits is my muscles. So I'm doing it to myself.
Después me levanto.
Afterwards, I get up.
Abro las cortinas.
Not reflexive because I'm doing this action, abrir, to a thing, not to myself, right? I'm not opening myself up. I'm opening the curtains, so no reflexive there.
Y me estiro otra vez.
I stretch again.
Voy al baño.
Voy al baño, not reflexive. I just go into the room.
Empiezo a prepararme.
Oh, I start to get myself ready. So prepararme is get myself prepared for the day, right? Empiezo a, I start to. So this is one of those two verb conjugations. And I chose this video because, again, you see a combination of when we conjugate the reflexive verb and when we don't. When we don't is when I've got the two verbs working together, right? I'm starting to get ready. Empiezo a prepararme. And the prepararme stays as an infinitive because it's the second of the two verb phrase, right? But I do morph that little se into a me because I'm talking about myself.
Me lavo la cara.
I wash my face.
Me seco la cara.
Oh, I dry off my face. When I towel off, it's secarme, or well, secarse, secarse, me seco. I dry off my face.
Uso la crema dental y el cepillo de dientes.
Not reflexive, it's just
Y
uso.
me lavo los dientes.
Me lavo los dientes. Lots of folks from Mexico prefer lavarse with dientes rather than cepillarse with dientes, but either verb is okay.
Tengo que cepillarme los dientes.
Okay, now look again, we've got a two verb combination. So again, the reason we're watching this is to see when we use the reflexive with the pronoun in front and then the verb, and when we just use that reflexive verb as a whole infinitive. It's the second of that two verb combination, the two verbs working together. Tengo que, I have to. Tengo que cepillarme, but that little me still has to morph into a me, can't be se.
Me quito las medias.
Okay, medias are stockings. She's got great big, oh wow, I used to have these when I lived in the Midwest, yeah. Quitarse is to take something off your body, like ponerse is to put it on. Quitarse is to take it off your body, right? Quitar would be just to take something away, like taking a toy away from a baby, take the ball away from your doggy, right? Quitar is to take something away and remove it. But me quito, if I take clothing off, just like ponerme or vestirme, right, is getting dressed or putting clothing on. This is taking off. Quita, and quitar is a perfectly regular verb, quitarse, so me quito.
Abro la ducha.
Abro la ducha, when you turn on the shower. I don't think I've ever told you this one. There isn't a turn on verb. You open the spigot. In Spanish, you open the spigot and you close the spigot, which, yeah, for a valve operated device makes sense, but we just use different, we say turn on and turn off, right? And if you look on turn on, you'll find a verb that talks about like turning on a switch, an electricity switch. So when you say turn on a faucet, any kind of faucet, anywhere, shower, sink, any sink, it's abrir, because you're opening up the valve in there. Not reflexive.
Tengo que ducharme.
Tengo que ducharme. I have to take a shower, right? And it's the two verb combo. So I don't conjugate ducharme. I do flip the little se into a me because I have to do it.
Hoy voy a ponerme un vestido.
Voy a ponerme. I'm going to put on. Voy a ponerme. It's the double verb thing again. So we don't conjugate the ponerme. She could have just said, me pongo un vestido. I'm putting on a dress. That would also be okay. Voy a ponerme un vestido makes it a little bit into the future. So, you know, either saying me pongo un vestido or voy a ponerme un vestido, they're both equally fine.
Me pongo el vestido.
Now she conjugated it.
Me visto.
Me visto, I get dressed.
Me seco el pelo con una toalla.
Oh, I dry off my hair.
Me peino.
I comb my hair.
Uso el peine para peinarme.
And here, uso el peine, uso, not reflexive. What am I using? I'm using a comb, so it's not reflexive. Para peinarme means in order to comb my hair. Para peinarme. Para, like de, like con, like a, is a preposition. After a preposition, we cannot conjugate the verb. It goes into the overall big category, just an infinitive kind of form.
Tengo que volver a secarme el pelo.
This one's a little bit more complicated. I have to dry my hair again. Volver a secarme is dry my hair again.
También uso el secador para secarme el pelo.
And uso, not reflexive, but secarme, yep, reflexive. Secador is the hairdryer, as you can tell.
¡Ay, Dios mío! Tengo mucho pelo.
Tengo mucho pelo. Got a lot of hair.
Me pongo desodorante.
Oh, even when you're putting on deodorant or perfume, you're putting it on your body. So it's reflexive. Me pongo desodorante.
Voy a maquillarme.
Maquillarme is a verb we haven't used too much yet. Maquillarme is put on makeup. Maquillaje is makeup, the noun, the thing that is makeup, but maquillarme or maquillarse is to put makeup on your face.
Me maquillo.
Me maquillo, and you see how she uses that. I put on makeup.
uso el maquillaje.
And there's the noun for makeup, maquillaje. Uso el maquillaje. Just uso, I use, yeah, what do I use? Makeup, not reflexive.
Me maquillo los ojos.
Make up my eyes.
Me pongo los aretes.
Aretes are earrings, and again, even though it's not clothing, you're putting it on your body, so me pongo.
Estoy lista.
I'm ready, estoy lista, y eso es, that's it. So we're done with that. So there's a good little warm up. Shows you how we do typically flip from using reflexives to not, depending on what you need to say. You know, it's all completely dependent on what it is that you need to say. Bien, vamos. We're going to talk about a couple of the special verbs and one more video, and then I'll send you off to practice with the reflexives. So that's going to be our order here. There are some verbs, some troublesome verbs, which kind of look like, well, why should these be reflexive? But they are. So we're going to talk about a few of those now, and probably we won't get to all of them, but a few. So we're going to get a little whiteboard up just so that you're prepped. A ver. And what are some of these verbs? Some of these verbs are verbs like, we'll start with a few. We'll add some more on next week, but we'll start with just a few here. One of them, oddly enough, is ir. You would think, why? Why would ir need to be reflexive? Good God, why? Okay, so we've got ir, to go. And when we make it reflexive, irse, which I want to put this in the first position because it's actually very common to hear people using irse in conversation, extremely common. It changes the meaning to something like this: to go away, away, away. You don't translate the word away, you just make it reflexive. It's like saying dormir, to sleep, and dormirse, to fall asleep. Irse is to go away. So a lot of times, here's how you will hear people using irse. Somebody looks at their watch and they get a shocked look. Ya son las 10. Wow, it's 10 o'clock. Me voy. Okay, so what does that mean? Ya son las 10. Wow, it's already 10 o'clock. Me voy. I'm out of here. That's what it means. Me voy. I gotta go. I'm taking off. I'm taking off. You know, okay, yeah, I'm going away. Would you say that? No, you would say, I gotta take off. I've got to get out. I've got to get out of here. Irse just adds kind of a very fluid, like, I got to do it right now, feeling to it. That's all. Okay, irse, because that's on your list. Another one is dedicarse. Dedicarse, and usually with dedicarse is, yes, to dedicate yourself to. Well, that's so helpful. We use it to talk about, especially asking what someone does for a living? So typically you'll hear it expressed this way. ¿A qué te dedicas? ¿A qué te dedicas sounds kind of formal. What do you dedicate yourself to? Well, they're asking what you do for work. And you can either answer it with me dedico a, okay, and then usually it's a noun. Or very, very commonly, people will answer this question not with me dedico. They won't answer the question necessarily with me dedico. They'll answer it with soy. Soy and their job. So there are different ways you can answer that question. But when people ask you that question, because they're introducing themselves to you and they are curious about what you do for a living, they'll ask it very often with ¿a qué te dedicas? That's one way they may ask what your job is. Okay. And the last one we're going to look at is this one, which we'll see a video on. Sentir and Sentirce. Sentir and Sentirce. This is kind of funky because, oh, it's not sentar, but it looks just like sentar for the yo form. It's an IE stem change. Okay. But it's not an AR verb, it's an IR verb. Okay. Sentir means to feel or to regret. You do know how to say lo siento, lo siento, lo siento. Lo siento means I'm sorry, right? Yeah, lo siento is I'm sorry. Lo siento literally is saying I regret it, whatever the it is you have done. Lo siento, lo siento. Siento, you're going to see in the video, is also used to say that you feel something, okay? But this one, sentirse, sentirse, the reflexive one, is what we often use to say that you feel a certain way. And that might be talking about either your health or your emotional state. Okay, either way. Me siento mal hoy. Me siento mal. Wow, I don't feel so hot today. Mal, badly. Me siento mal. Yeah, people can say that, okay? Me siento muy contenta. I feel very happy. So sentirse as a reflexive is used to talk about the state you're in, kind of like using it instead of saying estar, using estar to talk about your health. Okay.
How do you use sienter without the reflexive?
That little thing, lo siento, I'm sorry.
But that's reflexive. How do you use that
No,
verb?
no, lo siento is not reflexive.
Oh, okay.
Lo siento is not reflexive. It's the
Okay.
way we say I'm sorry. Now she's going to show you how it works as non-reflexive and reflexive.
Okay.
The video is going to go through that. Sentirse is very, very, very common also because, of course, quite often, you know, we talk about how we're feeling, be it health or emotion. Okay, so these three I want to prep you for. We'll take maybe another 2 next week. Okay, but these are verbs that you may not expect to hear as reflexives, but they are. And people use them in introductory situations. That ¿a qué te dedicas? What do you do for a living? Is used in introductions. So it's common in conversation. Sentirse is common in conversation instead of estar possibly. And irse, when somebody is like, oh, okay, I'm out of here, that's what they will often use. Okay, so before you incorporate maybe 1 or 2 of those into your conversation with small group, we're going to take a look at one more video that's going to help you with that piece of why do we have these 2 verbs, sentir and sentirse? Why? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? And how do we use them? Okay. There, get my share button going. And
De maravilla. ¿Y
okay.
tú? ¿Cómo
Okay, I'm gonna
Maravilla.
back that up.
¿Y tú?
Me
¿Cómo
see, well, I'll just let it roll.
te sientes hoy? Mis amigos, somos latinos. Nosotros sentimos demasiado. We are passionate and it's in our blood. So it is obvious that we use the verb sentir a lot because we use it in many different contexts. Also in its reflexive way as sentirse. If the verb has ever confused you, this is the video for you because I will show you exactly how we use the verb sentir y sentirse in Spanish in real conversation. Get ready to talk y sentirte como un verdadero latino.
Oh, and to feel like a real Latino. Yay, sentirte.
Just like this. Let's start with sentir. If you want to tell someone que sientes, then we use sentir. Así de fácil. Please be aware that the verb sentir is irregular. That means that it's one of those verbs that you need to change a bit when you're trying to conjugate it. But let's see how you will conjugate it answering to the question, ¿qué sientes? Yo siento frío en este momento. Tú sientes mucha nostalgia cuando estás de viaje.
Okay, so let's pause.
Él siente alivio de haber pasado.
Let's pause that for a minute and just look at those examples. I feel cold. I feel coldness. I feel cold at this moment. Okay. Sentir is more like what you sense. Okay. Sentir is connected to the idea of sensing something, sensing heat, sensing in a tactile way, coldness, nostalgia, nostalgic. Okay. You feel very nostalgic when you're traveling. So here's just sentir, not reflexive.
Cuando estás de viaje. Él siente alivio de haber pasado el examen.
Oh, he feels relieved. Alivio is a noun. I want you to think about this. Frío is a noun. Nostalgia is a noun. Alivio means relief. And we say he feels relieved, but in Spanish, you feel relief. Okay. Relief is a release from something that's, you know, weighing on you, be it pain or worry or anxiety, right? Siente alivio de haber pasado el examen. He feels relief at having passed the exam. But I want you to notice frío, alivio, nostalgia, those are all nouns. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Okay.
Nosotros sentimos amor por los perros.
We feel love for dog. Oh, love, amor, is a noun. Okay, so we're defining a noun with sentir to talk about a sensation that we feel.
Ustedes sienten una alegría al vernos.
You feel joy, happiness upon seeing us, to see us, okay? Alegría is not an adjective, it's a noun. Okay.
Ellos sienten muchas ganas de besarse.
Okay. Ganas is a hard word to define. Ganas is a strong gut level impulse, a desire. Tengo ganas de tomar otro café. I feel like having another cup of coffee. Tengo ganas, I have a strong desire. Ganas is a strong desire. So in English, we would say, I feel like. Tengo ganas. But this is, I feel this strong desire, right? Ellos sienten muchas ganas. They feel like. It translates best ganas into feel like. But ganas is a strong desire that comes from your gut and it's compelling, okay? Hard word to translate. They really feel, muchas ganas. They really feel like kissing. They have much impulse to kiss, is really what you're saying. They feel a great compulsion to kiss. Now, if you said it that way in English, people would look at you like you're weirdo. Wow, they feel a big compulsion to kiss. But if you say, wow, they really feel like kissing, that does not sound weird at all, right? We use a different set of words to translate that idea. But ganas, guys, comes from your gut. Yeah, you're not even making it cerebral. It's from the gut feeling.
A pregunta?
Mhm.
Ganar, isn't ganar to earn or to?
Ganar, yes, ganar como verbo. Ganar
To win.
as a verb means to earn or to win.
But this is,
But yeah, unlike a lot of things that are built on a similar word, this word ganas, and I don't know if it is built on the same root that we get that verb from, but yeah, it doesn't mean win, it doesn't mean earn. Ganas is always plural. It's always ganas with an S, always.
always.
And yes, no exceptions. Ganas is always ganas. And it means a strong desire, like a magnetic thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that word ganas has a very special meaning. Feel like. Okay. Even in English, feel is a funky kind of word. Somebody may say, wow, feel how light this is, right? Somebody might say, wow, feel this fabric. And then it means like to put your hands on it. Oh, feel this fabric, right? Oh my gosh, I'm all clammy, feel my skin. It means you're putting your hands on it in English, right? To feel. And then you tell somebody, well, I feel like swimming. What a weird transition that is in English, right? So think of it as, okay, every language has weird transitions. Our weird transition with feel is this versus yee, I feel like taking a swim. Not really the same idea as feel. Yeah. Okay. So they have a similar thing.
So guys, notice something? First, sentir changes the E to IE. But besides that, the ending follows the same pattern as the regular verbs ending in IR. Second thing, after the verb, you would generally find a noun like frío, alivio, amor, acting as direct object, which refers to the thing you feel. After all, you always feel something, right?
Yeah. So the sentir is feeling with a noun. You feel a particular type of emotion.
Feel anything.
And third, that noun could be accompanied by an adjective or an article, just like mucha nostalgia, muchas ganas, una alegría. Also, bear in mind that the same verb could be followed by the word que, so you can state ¿qué estás sintiendo? What are you feeling? And in English would be I feel that. Let's see some examples for that. Yo siento que va a llover.
I feel it's going to rain. Okay, you're sensing something in the air, that sensation of it's going to rain. Siento que, I feel that. Or we might say in English, I feel like, but we translate it as siento que. And notice that siento sounds like the siento of me siento, this sit down verb, right? Sentarse and sentirse are both IE stem changes. So for yo, they're going to sound the same, but sentir will go off into ER conjugations, and we'll look at that when the video is done. Just in a
Ellos
chart.
sienten que no se aman.
Oh, they feel that they don't love each other.
Ella siente que 2 días son suficientes para turistear.
They feel that 2 days are enough. to tour around. Turistear. I don't think they use much in Spain, but they do in Mexico. Turistear, go around on a tour, okay? And notice this is kind of interesting. Se aman as a reflexive. Amarse, amar is to love, like romantic love. Amarse is to love each other. Oh, reflexive can also mean you do things to each other sometimes. And this is why we're just dipping our toe into the whole reflexive thing. This whole se business can mean different things, but one of the meanings of se or mete nos, of course, is the traditional reflexive we've been talking about.
Is that clear so far? What happens though when we use the reflexive form of sentir? Let's have a look at that now. Rather than what we feel, sentirse answers the question of how we feel.
Yeah, not feeling a thing, but we're going to plug an adjective in instead of a noun. Okay, so instead of joy, happiness, maybe just happy. So now we're looking at just the reflexive side of sentirse.
In this case, we must use the reflexive pronouns of me, te, se, nos, y se. So if someone asks you, ¿Cómo te sientes? You may say, yo me siento súper bien.
Oh, I feel really great. Yeah, super good. Super well, really. Super bien. And bien is an adverb. It's a description. It's not a thing. Well is not a thing. Like alegría means joy, happiness, a thing. Bien is not a noun. Bien is a description, right?
Tú te sientes increíble.
Increíble is not a thing. It's a description.
Él se siente mal.
Mal is a description. It's not a thing, a noun.
Nosotros nos sentimos enfermos.
Enfermos, sick, right? Sickness, yeah, well, not sickness, enfermedad, but sick. Enfermos is, again, a description. So we use this as reflexively.
Ustedes se sienten tranquilos después de la operación.
Tranquilos, calm, relaxed is a description. Se sienten tranquilos. And then we just give more information. Después de la operación, we're just telling when.
Ellos se sienten asustados con la película.
Asustados means scared, afraid. So we use these just the adjectives with sentirse.
Did you identify the difference between sentir and sentirse? First, usually sentirse, it is followed by an adjective rather than a noun, just like I said before with sentir. Just like in the examples, enfermos, tranquilos, asustados, because it's describing how you feel.
And so a good rule of thumb is all those descriptions you use with estar, estoy contenta, estoy molesta, I am bothered, estoy bien, estoy mal, estoy triste. All of those descriptions you use with estar are good with sentirse. So sentirse can kind of come in as a substitute for estar, because sometimes we change up the way we express it. We do the same in English.
Second, you could also use an adverb such as súper bien, increíble, or mal. So now you're able to answer me the first question I made you at the beginning. So, ¿cómo te sientes? Let me know in the...
And notice it says como, how. How do you feel is sentirse. Que, what you feel. You're expressing a noun. I feel fear. I feel cold. You know, I feel relief, alivio. Okay.
The comments below right now, how are you feeling today?
Okay.
But
Wow.
don't go yet. because I have a quiz at the end of this video. By the way, instead of using siento que, which answers to what you feel, we could use siento como to state how you feel, like in the following chunks. Me siento como tonta.
Oh, okay. Me siento como tonta. This is something you do hear people say a lot. Man, I feel dumb because you flubbed up with something. Yeah, you messed up something. Me siento como tonta. Then they'll often inject this idea como. I feel like a dummy.
Al no entender las matemáticas. Ellos se sienten como reyes cuando los voltean a ver.
Oh, they feel like kings. But notice now it's literally the word like, with literally the word like, como, in there. Como with no accent mark. Como with an accent mark, how? Como with no accent mark, like. Not I like beer. I feel like a fool. I feel like a king. I feel like an expert. Yeah, okay. That kind of like.
Now, mis amigos, it's your turn to practice. I am going to quiz your knowledge, and you gotta fill in the blank with the right conjugation of sentir or sentirse. I have 5 statements, and you got to write the correct way. Let's start. I am going to give you a hint. Make sure to notice if it's a noun, an adverb, an adjective, or an article that it's followed by the blank space. That will give you what the correct answer is. Número 1. Juan, blank, bien esta mañana.
Juan feels good. Bien. Which one? Will we do reflexive or not?
Reflexive.
The correct answer is Juan se siente bien esta mañana.
Perfecto.
Número 2. Mariana y Paulísima, blank, una emoción al verse.
Emoción here means emotion, but like a that kind of emotion. Okay.
Sienten.
Reflexive.
The correct answer is Mariana y Paulísima sienten una emoción.
Not reflexive because emoción is a noun.
Oh,
Now, if I had taken out the word emoción, una emoción, wow, they feel this great upon seeing each other because they're so happy to be together, right? If I take emoción and I put in instead of emoción, if I put in an adjective like emocionadas, if I change emoción, a noun, into emocionadas, excited, literally,
Se sienten.
then it would be reflexive. Se sienten emocionadas, but sienten una emoción, noun.
Al verse. Número 3. Nosotros, blank, como idiotas si nos dices mentiras.
Oh, yeah, this is another we feel like dummies phrase. You know, it's the I could kick myself express. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we say I could kick myself. Well, this is what people would say.
Reflexive.
It's reflexive.
And como idiota, como, we got that como.
Nos
The correct answer is
siento.
nosotros nos sentimos como idiotas si nos dices mentiras. Número 4, blank, que hoy será un gran día.
Oh, I feel like today will be a good day.
Siento. No, it's not not reflexive.
Not reflexive.
The correct answer is siento que hoy
Siento.
será un
Yo
gran
siento.
Y número 5, hoy, blank, maravilloso porque estoy aprendiendo español.
And maravilloso is a
Me.
description.
so it's a reflexive.
Hoy.
The the correct
Description.
answer is hoy me siento maravilloso
Me siento.
aprendiendo español.
So descriptions, sentirse, right? That is the basic idea. I'm going to give you one more little share screen, you off into groups, and that little share screen will just be to look at what does sentir look like conjugated, because it's not sentar, it's sentir. So we'll take a look at that briefly, because that won't take us too much time. Actually, we'll look at sentar and sentir next to each other. Sentarse is to sit down. And wow, how come we get two verbs that look almost exactly alike? Why do we have that? I don't know why it does, but it does. So, me siento, or nos, if I have people with me, nos sentamos for sitting down, but sentirse will be, oh, yay, me siento, it'll be exactly the same. How do you know if it's sit down versus I feel? Because the rest of the sentence gives you this context. Me siento con mi familia, I sit down with my family, right? That from context. Me siento, me siento estupenda. Me siento estupenda, that's telling how I feel. Me siento. But notice what happens for the nosotros, it needs an IR verb ending. Nos sentimos, and no stem change when we do nosotros. So that's kind of easy, right? Te sientas, right? Os sentáis, we don't need too much, but I put it there so you know what it is. Not me, but te sientes. It's got an es ending, and es because it's an IR verb. And then the vosotros will be sentís, but you're not going to use that a lot. And now we've got the overall talking about somebody. Se sienta, right? And se sientan, they sit down, he or she sits, they sit down. And now we're going to say somebody feels, or some people feel a certain way. It goes into that se siente and se sienten. So you can see sentarse, AR verb endings, o, as, a, amos, an, sentirse, IR endings, o, they all get o for yo, es, es, imos for nosotros, en for they, okay? And they're both stem changers, so that's kind of a tricky thing with sentir. Okay, fantastico. I would like to ask if you've got any questions before I send you off into Zoom rooms to practice with your prompts. ¿Hay alguna pregunta? Any question about using, oops, I keep bringing up, I've got the wrong screen, perdón.
I didn't do my homework this week.
I'll do my best.
Very honest.
This happens. This happens. We have things that happen and we get busy. Never feel bad about that. Okay, so this you're seeing is the prompts that I had sent out. So I'm just going to send you, and use these to talk, to give your partners information about what you do, or maybe you want to talk not about you, but about somebody in your family. Doesn't matter. You can talk about anything at all that you want to, but I do want you to use these verbs. So it says, besides the verb, include some vocabulary to say maybe when or how often. We had a lot of those phrases like muchas veces or siempre or nunca, never, right? And so throw in some extra information. Tell us a little bit about when that person does it, or some kind of extra info. Who they do it with, right? With whom, where you do it, maybe. Despertarse, that's got a stem change. Ducharse or bañarse, whichever, because some people have a preference on one or the other. Ponerse for putting on things. Dormirse for falling asleep, not sleeping, but falling asleep. Maybe you do something in your routine while you fall asleep, like counting sheep, like reading a book, like playing a video game. I don't know, no sé, like watching some TV. Irse, try to work in one example of irse or sentirse, one or the other. Irse is to go away, right? Take off. Sentirse, to feel a certain way. And we're going to use these. I'm going to write in here, actually, we used with adjectives or adverbs. And I say or adverbs because well and bad, mal and bien are adverbs, not adjectives. Okay. Alguna pregunta? Any question about those little things you're going to use? Talk about yourself, your kids, your significant other, whomever you want to speak about. Okay. I want to put you into pretty small groups here. Somos 12. A ver. Cinco. I think we're going to do 5 groups. 5 groups, and I'm just double checking because we may have some folks out here. Ooh. I'm going to move just a couple people. Because I know I've got a couple people sitting out here. Okay. Jan and Marianne are here, so we're good. Okay, great. I've got all that assigned and you'll hit your join button. I'm going to give you about 7 minutes. Maybe 7 minutes is enough. I think 7 is good.
It'll just be.
Okay. Are you're still in, Jan? Do you need to leave right
Yes.
now?
No, I'm done. That's everything. It'll be back
Oh.
on in an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to double check. All righty. I will get out of your way.
Okay.
Excelente. And I think you'll have to take yourselves off of mute once you come back in. We're going to do some little wrap-up questions and wrap-up homework. And we're still waiting on here. Yeah, if you've got a question in the interim while people are coming in, feel free to ask it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, you know, I have a question here, like, to make sure you're using the reflexive and not reflexive ones. So I still want to understand that because I'm still confused on that,
Okay.
like using the reflexive.
Whether they are
for-
reflexive or not.
Correct. So you
Okay.
said that using the noun or the, you know, adjective or something, so that follow with it. So then you will figure it out. Oh, this is reflexive. Oh, this is not reflexive.
So just for sentirse.
Okay.
For
Oh,
that
that's
one?
all only for sentirce.
That's for sentirse. Yeah, that's for
Oh.
So yes, that's just for sentirse. That whole video. Go back
Okay.
and watch it again this week.
Okay.
Okay, because it's only
Yeah.
5 minutes. And that takes you through just that one verb, because that one verb has these little conditions. Now, I'm going to tell you, unless you're saying lo siento, I'm sorry.
Right.
The most common way that people, like in a 15-minute conversation, the most common way for people, oh, excuse me a second. Do I need to? Somebody had to get in my house. You're okay. I thought I had to unlock a door. Okay. The most common verb, the most common thing you may hear is somebody says, I'm sorry about something. And then they'll say, lo siento. I regret it. Oh boy, I really feel it. Okay. Most of the time, and I think even for you in speaking, if you want to say, gee, I feel good today, or gee, I don't feel so good today, you're going to be using it reflexively most of the time. Now, when you hear other people talk, you may hear them using it as just sentir. But when you're talking to other people saying, this is how I feel, you're probably going to plug in an adjective, because you're going to probably plug in the way you feel, right?
Okay.
So most likely you're going to be using that reflexively, unless you're specifically saying, lo siento, sorry, right? Sorry will be just lo siento. Don't have to worry about it too much. But you may hear people using siento without that reflexive meaning, and then they're using it with a noun generally. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You know,
Okay.
otherwise, having a verb reflexive or not changes the meaning, you know, ever so slightly. If I'm talking about lifting weights, it's just levantar, because I'm lifting weights. But levantarse is doing that, right? You know, sentarse is sitting down. Do you use sentarse way more than say somebody is seating me? Just sentar? Probably. Because you only use being seated if you're in a restaurant or a theater, or, you know, so usually it's going to be sentarse most of the time you use it, right? Lavar or lavarse, well, that's a toss-up. If you're talking about washing a part of your body, it's lavarse. But if you're talking about washing the dishes or washing clothes and the clothes, you know, clothes washer, doing laundry, then it's just lavar. Or
Right.
washing your car, just lavar. So
Okay.
it really depends on that action, whether it's reflective.
Yeah, that thing is, I get it. That part. It's just the one that is like the other.
The sentirse, yeah.
Correct.
Most of the time, you're more likely to put in a description. So sentirse is going to be for you in conversation probably more frequent,
Okay.
way more frequent. So
All right.
I am. Sí, dime, sí.
This is just going back to the video too, and I just want to make sure I understand when you would tag the like the may on the end of the base verb, like you said with an infinitive, so like voy a dormirme, that would be one way. But did you say too that it's when you have a two verb combination and the
Two verb combination, yes.
okay, so the second verb is not congregated, and then you could take, okay.
Let me show you some examples that Mariana, things that would be common for people to say. Okay, let's pull up a screen. This is a really good question. Es buena pregunta. Qué buenas preguntas tienen. What good questions you guys have. Okay, let's take a look at lavar and lavarse, right? Well, actually just lavarse. Let's take a look at when we use it in a two verb combination and when we don't. Okay, if I'm just talking about what I'm really doing in real time, me lavo las manos muchas veces todos los días. Oh, get my accent right on it. I wash my hands a lot every day, frequently, every day. Me lavo las manos muchas veces todos los días. Bien. Okay. Just me lavo, me lavo. I'm talking about the main activity. But what if I want to say, well, I'm not doing it now, but I'm going to do it pretty soon, right? I'm going to. Now I need a two verb combination because I need the I'm going to part. And the I'm going to part takes over. But I've still got to have that little flip in that se word. So, voy a lavarme las manos en unos minutos. I'm going to wash my hands in a few minutes. Voy a lavarme. Voy a lavarme. Now, somebody may, because they can, take that little word me and flip it way to the beginning. Me voy a lavar las manos en unos minutos. Just so you know, people may, and it's going to feel like they're throwing you a curveball, but this is okay. That me can be swung up in front of the first verb, conjugated, or it can be tagged on to the lavarme. People may say it either way because they can. So the may be here, tagged on to the lavar. It may be up front here, and both are perfectly correct. One is not more common than the other. It's just two ways, two places the word may can go because I've got the two verbs working together. Okay.
The two verbs always stand together. You would not put the may in front of the lavar.
Right. Muy bien. You
Okay.
cannot stick the me in between the two verbs.
Okay.
When those two verbs go walking together, nothing separates them. Nothing puts them apart, right? Voy a lavarme. Okay, let's look at another example of two verbs working together, because many times we do this. Tengo que, not voy a, I'm going to, I have to, I have to. Tengo que lavarme las manos. Ahora, I have to wash my hands now. Two verbs working together. Instead of saying I'm doing it, I'm going to do it, I have to do it. Two verbs working together. The have to part gets conjugated. So it's tengo que, tengo que, tengo que. But be aware, people may swing that me up in front of tengo. And they may say it this way, and both are correct. So me can swing to a couple of places. It can swing in front of the conjugated verb tengo. We can stick it on the back of the infinitive, lavar. Tengo que lavarme, equally correct to say, me tengo que lavar. Either way, they may say it either way to you. Okay? But it's because we've got these two verbs working together. We cannot put the me between the two verbs. They got to go walking together like this. Okay, bien. Let's look at another one like that. Let's say instead of I'm going to, instead of I have to, we're going to say I want to. Quiero lavarme las manos, por favor. I want to wash my hands, please. You walk into a restaurant, you don't know where the restroom is. You say to, the maitre d' or whomever, waitress, oh, I want to wash my hands. ¿Dónde? Where? Yeah, you ask them where. So, quiero lavarme las manos. Or we can swing that me up in front. Me quiero lavar las manos. Me can go in either way, but the me can't go in between quiero and lavar. They have to be tight. Me quiero lavar or quiero lavarme. Either way works great. Bien, does that help, Mariana?
It does, helps out a lot, thanks.
Muy bien, okay. So there's a difference between just using the verb by itself, in which case you always do it this way. Me lavo, te lavas, se lava, se lavan for a bunch of people, right? Nos lavamos. Yeah, just plain old vanilla flavors, plain verb. But many times we want to convey more meaning than that, because you want to say, I want to, I have to, I'm going to, meaning it isn't happening now, but I plan for it. And then you'll run into those situations where people are going to combine more than one verb. And when we combine more than one verb, the first verb is conjugated. The second one just goes along for the ride. It does not get conjugated. Bien? I hope that helps. Espero que ayuda un poquito. Okay, bien. I'm going to show you something that will be for homework, and I'm going to give you some prompts again, like I did last week. I'll send them off with the email. And you probably won't need to look at all of these slides, but you may want to quickly check through some of them. But I'll give you the link to this again. It's a longer set of slides, but some verbs, you've got like all these verbs, which are your daily routine stuff. Shower, get dressed, put on clothes, put on makeup, go to bed, take off your shoes. Some people have rules in their house about take off the shoes. I wish I had that rule in my house. Everyone would ignore me anyway. Okay. And we expect those routine things to be reflexive. So what I want you to do for homework is to, and you may want to look in your book here, I'll give you the page numbers. They start to give you some of those verbs way back in el capítulo 12, in chapter 12, they start to give you some of these. And we didn't start with chapter 12 in the book here because they get into the weeds super fast and then it becomes too dense. But you're kind of ready to start to get into the weeds a little bit. This starts on page 193, 193. We're going to start to look at some verbs. And now I've got them up on the screen. You're going to look at only certain parts of these slides. Some verbs don't look like they should be reflexive because they're not really about your daily routine, but they just are. And the book starts to talk about some of those. So I'm going to give you the ones that I think you kind of hear a lot in conversation. These, it won't be obvious that they are reflexive because, when you say you complain about something, how is that reflexive? You complain on yourself? No, we don't talk that way. But that verb complain is reflexive, oddly. So there are some verbs that just are. Shoot, they just are. And so you'll kind of check out this screen. Take a look at some of these. Quejarse with the word de, to complain about. Divertirse, to have a good time. You can never say, tengo un buen tiempo. If you say that to somebody, they won't know what the heck you're talking about. Literally, you'll get like a blank, weird look from people. They cannot say, have a good time. It's either going to be lo paso bien, or this verb here, divertirse, which really means to enjoy yourself. And I'm going to put the enjoy yourself in this slide because that really should be in there. Okay, divertirse, comerse. Sometimes comer is reflexive, and it obviously does not mean you're eating yourself. It means you're gobbling something up. Comerse means do it fast. Okay, snarf it down, scarf it down. Yeah, vacuum that food in. That's what it means, comerse. Preguntarse means to wonder because you ask yourself, oh, I ask myself, what's going on? Preguntarse means to wonder. We say that as I wonder. Darse cuenta de, and there you only conjugate the darse. I probably won't give you that one yet to practice. Graduarse, to graduate, is always reflexive. Jubilarse, to retire, is reflexive. It just is. It just is. So we're into the just is verbs now. So I want you to kind of become familiar with it. Must you memorize all these right now? No, but take a look at verbs that maybe you might personally use a lot, like have a good time. Like maybe you want to talk about complaining about something in your hotel. Like maybe you want to say, I'm retiring in 2 years, right? Or, you know, whatever. Oh, and here's a list. Oh, you want to talk about people being quiet. Callarse. You want to say, I forgot about something. Oh, yeah. Irse, which we introduced a little bit, right? Morirse, oddly, is die on yourself. I don't know. It's often used reflexively, right? Oh, okay, I had repeated. So I'm going to pick a few things out of these for your prompts for next week, and I will give you the link to these screens, and I'll tell you even which slides, which number the slides are that you should check out. You can look at the preliminary, because the preliminary stuff just gives you all the rules, right? You may not need that at this point, but I'll give you all of those. So I will give you some new prompts, and these are going to be verbs that might not feel like they should be reflexive, but they are. Okay.
So is that going to be the homework? Is that what you're saying?
That is going to be, yes, that is going to be the homework. So that's going to be a combination of what you see on those screens. I'll give you some prompts that we'll be using for talking next week. And there'll be certain pages in the book. I'll tell you, hey, go back and look at these, right? So now when you look at these, you're going to say, wow, there are a whole lot of verbs in here. Do I need to memorize them all? Pick out the ones that you think you're going to use the most. That's always the key with vocabulary. Things that you feel like, I may have a need for that verb. Those are good things to look at. Okay. If you try to discipline yourself that you must memorize the whole list, you'll start to drive yourself crazy. So pick out the ones that you feel are most helpful. That's why I have those little slides, because you get like, you know, a list of maybe 25 things here, and maybe you need 10 of them, like what you see on my slides. Maybe you need fewer. We'll practice a few. Okay. We're going to start to take a look at the kind of troublesome thing that is past tense. We're going to start to dip our toe into this. What is past versus oh shoot, you'll get new sets of endings. Oh, I'm sorry to tell you. Yes, that hurts, doesn't it? It does hurt.
Lo siento.
Sí, lo siento. I'm sorry. Eso sí que es, that's just the way it is.
It hurts my brain.
It hurts your brain. Felicitaciones, congratulations. Ustedes son normales. You guys are normal. Of course it hurts your brain. That's a normal feeling to have. Okay, but we're going to dip our toes into something that is bigger picture before we shove all kinds of endings on you, okay? What you're going to see today is not what I'm going to, everything you hear from now to the end of class is not go memorize this. It's a get yourself used to the idea of I will have new conjugations, and get yourself used to the idea of, oh, there's not one past tense, there are. Okay, so I'm going to send a very neat video for you to listen to. I was going to play it during class, but we won't have time. I'm going to break it down into the absolute necessary. Often we need to talk using the past. Why? Because you need to say things like, oh, I bought my tickets last week. I left my keys in my room. I forgot my card, my credit card. Oh, sir, I ordered this, but it's not what you brought me, right? We need past tense. You want to tell somebody, wow, I woke up, oh my goodness, I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. You want to say to somebody, oh, they invite you to eat. Oh, I ate. I ate at 3 o'clock. I'm not hungry now. We need past tense. We need to be able to talk about things that happened in the past tense. And sadly, there are two past tenses in Spanish, which you may say, why are they torturing us? But French has two past tenses. A lot of languages have it. And, we even have more than one past tense. We say, I woke up. I have just awakened. Well, we don't say it that way. I just woke up. I had already awakened when the phone rang. We have lots of past tenses too. But the two past tenses in Spanish have specific names. Don't worry in the video about, I must know the name for these tenses. All that you need to know is pretérito. Pretérito means we call it preterite. Wow, what a funny name. Pretérito is one past tense. They may call it the simple past tense. Just know that little keyword pretérito, that is key. And then imperfecto. Imperfecto, wow, that sounds like imperfect. And in fact, it is imperfect. But it's imperfect in the best way possible. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love conjugations in imperfect. And you're gonna say, this isn't imperfect, it's perfect. It's great because it has hardly any irregulars. But it is imperfect because it indicates a how shall I term this? The name imperfect is that way because it means not neatly finished, let's say. It's an action that is fuzzy. We don't really know when it ended. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so what you're going to hear in the video is she's going to talk about that there are two past tenses, and why we use it is a big deal. We use pretérito. It is event oriented. That's the way I like to say it. It is event oriented. It tells you, here's what happened. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These things happened. So when you're talking about what you did with your day, when you sit down with your significant other or your kids at the end of the day, and you tell them, here's what I did through the day, you tell them the order of what you did, right? You say, well, I went to work, I had 3 meetings, I turned in a report, I talked to a bunch of customers, and then I came home. And those are events. Another thing they like to say about pretérito is that it moves the story forward. Because it tells you this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. It's very, very simple. So pretérito always talks about events. It happened, it happened, it happened, it happened. But in Spanish, sometimes we want to say not what happened, but what I used to do repeatedly or often. But I'm not really talking, I'm not saying I did it 5 times or 10. I just always used to do this, right? If we're talking about what we used to do, or if the idea you want to convey is similar to the English of I was or they were doing something, and that ing is in parentheses, in caps for a reason. If what you mean in English is I was doing this, they were doing this, or if you want to say used to, it will be imperfecto. It will not be the pretérito. Okay. Here's the other situation when we use imperfecto. Anything that describes what something was like in the past. Those 3 situations, you want to talk about what something or somebody was like in the past. You're describing. You want to specifically convey the English idea of I was exercising when the plumber called. Plumber called, that's an event. But I was on the exercise bike when that happened. Whoa, was doing. Yeah. Or if you want to say you used to, like you want to say, I used to skateboard when I was a kid. I used to ski, but then I hurt my knee and now I don't anymore. We used to go to the park every day when I was a kid. I used to take my kids to their karate lessons once a week. If you did it over and over and over again, but you don't really say how often, you just used to do it. It's imperfecto because we don't know how often. You just did it a bunch of times. So people convey that idea in Spanish by using a different kind of past tense. And then you automatically know when they use this past tense, oh, it's did it a lot or was doing it. It's a description. It's either a description or repeated action. Okay? They get separate kinds of conjugations. So literally, when you read a story in Spanish, because I believe at the end of the video, she reads your little story. Literally, when people switch from pretérito to imperfecto between those tenses, they're telling you, oh, it happened versus it looks like this. They dropped off the packages at my house versus I was doing the laundry when they dropped off the packages at my house. I was doing the laundry. It went on for a while. It was going on in the background, but then they boom, dropped those boxes off in front of my door. That's an event. So we need 2 different past tenses to talk about those. And when they flip between those in a story, you know, boom, 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 preterite, preterite, preterite. It happened, it's over, it's happened, it's over, it happened, it's over. Versus I'm telling what somebody looked like. I'm telling how somebody felt. I'm talking about what I used to do. And then they switch to imperfecto. Okay. So I want you to just get a feel for that idea because it's a big idea. And initially it's scary. Now, preterite and imperfecto will have separate endings. AR verbs will get one kind of ending. ER and IR verbs will get one kind of ending. Preterite sadly has lots of weird, bizarre irregulars. No one likes pretérito. There are regular verbs in preterite, but there's quite a large category of irregulars. Imperfecto, however, is totally perfect because in the whole language, this is how many verbs are irregular in imperfecto. Okay. So I'm going to show you just the imperfecto. Just the imperfecto are great and easy to tell because they will all sound, and you'll know which ones are for AR verbs. Here are the AR verbs. And here come the ER verbs and IR verbs. Oops, they all get accent marks. The ER and IR verbs all get accent marks. And I'll give you lists of these later. So I don't want you to burden yourself with memorizing a lot of endings yet. But you'll start to notice an S at the end is a to form. Right? We won't even go into vosotros yet. Oh my goodness, I get the same for yo and for él y a usted. Yay. I get an N at the end for a they. Here are imperfecto endings for AR verbs and for ER/IR verbs. And I'm going to give you, you'll get a set of slides that will put these down so that you can just say that and not have to write it down. But some people remember it better when they write it down. So if you're that kind of person, go for it. Aba, 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 AR verbs. Ia, 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 ER and IR verbs. Only 3 irregulars. We won't talk about them yet today. In the whole language, only 3 verbs are going to break that pattern. And even then, they're going to have that S for the tú. They're going to have the mos for the nosotros. They're going to have the NNN for the they forms. So even then, the irregulars, well, not so bad. Okay.
So this is for the, I'm sorry, this is for the imperfecto?
These are imperfecto. Preterite will take a little more work. It's a little more problematic, okay? And she'll show you some of these in the video. And you're gonna get a whole set of slides. I show you these. And you can just print it out. Don't have to copy a lot of stuff down. But know that preterite means the things happen in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These things happen in my day and they're done and over. But now if I want to describe how somebody felt or what they were doing or what they used to do, or I want to describe how the trees looked, how the sky looked before it started to rain. Those are all descriptions and those will be imperfecto. They will not be events because they're descriptions. If I want to say the sky was gray, how is that an event? The sky was gray, not an event. Oh, it rained yesterday. Okay, that's an event, right? It was sunny all day long. Wow, it was sunny all day long. That's not an event. It's like, it's a description, right? Yeah. So start to get comfortable with that idea. Don't feel you have to memorize all the endings yet. Does that make sense? Yeah. You'll get a little story where she'll share some of that with you. So you'll just start to get comfortable with that idea. And we're going to then, after we branch out and talk about this, we'll give you some super common verbs in the past, like not, instead of there are a lot of cars here, there were a lot of cars here. Or like, instead of I'm going to the store, I went to the store. You see where I'm going with that. Or I called my friend, right? Or I bought meat at the store today. Or I drove downtown, right? We'll start to get a feel for that coming up next week. Make sense? But, see? Bien? Okay.
Trying
Vale.
to.
Eso es todo. I think that is it for today. ¿Todo bien? All good?
Oh, good.
Me
And-
duele el cerebro ahora.
Me
Gracias,
duele el
señora.
cerebro, pero gracias. Sí. It will hurt for a little bit, but it won't be too bad.
A
And we'll
mí
take it all.
también.
Sí, a tú. Sí, perfecto, perfecto. Esto es muy normal. This is very, very normal. So we'll break it apart and we'll take it into little bit of chunks, every bit of the way. Okay? ¿Está bien?
Sí.
Magnífico. Nos vemos. Okay, I'll send you everything in the recap and you'll have all the links for everything that you need and a new set of little prompts to prep for talking to next week. Bien?
Bien.
Fantástico.
Gracias.
De nada, de nada. Okay, nos vemos. See you next week.
Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.